Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good to see everybody in here. Hey, Jersey, you are number one in here tonight. All right. Do tell, PG. All right. I'm going to do tell. You guys know it. Right. Hey, Miss Justice. Good to see you tonight, too. God bless. Much love, PG. Much love to you, number two. You have made a believer out of PG this year. You really did. Hey, Soaring Free. Number three, girl. Number three. Hello, PG. Hello, hello, hello to you, girl. Good to see you. Good to see everybody in the chat. Brett, you are number four tonight, sweetie. Good evening, PG. Much love. God bless. Much love and God bless to you all. Hey, you are number four, girlfriend. And let's see who else is in here tonight. Oh, there's my Phoebe. Hey, girl, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Foster, how you doing tonight, sweetie? Let me get down through here. Angel from heaven too. Good to see you in here, girlfriend. That's it. In case nobody knows, that's Little PG. Changed her name from Little PG to Angel from heaven too. And let's get on down through here. Hey, Carrie. How you doing tonight? Hey, beautiful PG Mods chat. Good to see you all. Much love to you, girlfriend. You know it. Legendary. There you are, sweetie. Rainmaker, good to see you. Good to see you. Let me get down through here some more. I try not to mess nobody, but I can't promise. Oh, PGOA. There you go, girlfriend. I like that. Hey, Granny's house. How you doing? Hey, Texas Blue, Tropicana. Let me see. Who else? Hey, Bridget. Good to see you, girlfriend. Hello, PG. Glad I checked before going to bed. Now I get to stay up. God bless you. God bless you, girlfriend. Good to see you all. Absolutely. I appreciate that, Australia. I appreciate it, girlfriend. Ladybug. Oh, that is so cute. She says, hey. Hello to everybody. Lovely London. I like that too. Greetings from across the pond. Lovely PG. Good to see you in here tonight, girlfriend. God bless. Much love. Let me see. Georgia Wild Child. There you are, girl. Tiny Dancer. Let's see who else is in here tonight. Hey, Dartmouth, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Hey, PG in chat. Love to all. We are Summer's Army. Purple Hearts for Summer. God bless. Hey, Linda. And Shy, how you doing? I'm still moving to the bottom, you guys. We got a lot of people in here tonight. Oh, I appreciate that. 4509. Good to see you. Yeah, hello, PG and everyone. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love that. I'm sitting here admiring those purple blue hearts prayers. God bless for all the missing children. Hey, Carla, how you doing, sweetie? Absolutely. Purple hearts and prayers for summer. God bless. Much love to you. Black Lady, how you doing? PG is Candus and Don. I'm down in DD's cabin in Gettysburg. Candus and Don are split up. They had another falling out. I think if there's somebody in DD's cabin, it's Candus and Fred. That's all I can say. If they're in a cabin, it's Candus and Fred. The old Donnie boy is on the hill by himself. Hey, Nurse Cindy, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Donnie is all alone. Candace has been Candace has been playing cat and mouse with Freddie boy, right? With old Freddie boy. Hey Heather, how you doing, sweetie? Yeah, she must have took a real liking to that man. She must have took a real liking to him. Hey Dee, how you doing? Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else heard. I don't know. No summer, no peace. Amen. Um, I don't know if anybody else heard, but yeah, yeah. Candace has been rolled off the hill. I love you, Mama. Hey, I love you too, girlfriend. You know it. I appreciate that. Appreciate the support for Summer's channel. Amen. Uh, hey, Karen. 2753. Good to see you, hon. Good to see you. Jenny, how you doing, sweetie? Crystal. You know what? I think what I don't think they've been able to get along. I don't think they've been able to get along since Candace got involved with Dee Dee, started liking on her husband. You know, um, I don't think her and Donald's been able to get along. Um, yeah, she's like a doorknob. Her head turns in every direction, right? And but I think this in my opinion, this is my opinion. I think that Don and Candace kind of, are together but not together. You know what I'm saying? I think that they I think that they I think they've always shared one another. You know what I'm saying? I think that Candace is always, I don't think Don cares who Candace does what with, and I don't think she cares who Donald does what with. Um, I think that they kind of, have had that relationship since they've been together. I think, Don's put Candace off on other when she was young enough, when she was younger. I think Don kind of, you know, gave Candace to people, you know, to get what they, food or money or illegal substances. I think he, kind of put her out there and and let her be used and abused. And I think, he kind of did stuff himself. He's kind of done stuff his own self, to get whatever they need as well. I think personally that, they're personally a couple of twisted minded weirdos that and it ain't the first ones I've seen. It ain't the first ones I've seen. I mean, I had girlfriends, um, matter of fact, the one girlfriend I had that I told you about, the one that was like runway model material, she was beautiful. Um, and got with this guy, and that's what he did to her. That's what he done to her. Um, he basically put her out there, put her because they're just no good. These men are no good. Men like Don Wells, men like my girlfriend had. They're no good. They don't care. They don't know what love is. They don't know what real love is. They never had it in their life, and they're just with people. Like I think Don was with Pam because Pam was like his mother. I think he got with Candace because law enforcement came in, and was taking everybody down at his and Pam's house in Arkansas. And I think he got with Candus because, he knew he could use her. He could use her like he had used Pam all those years, and Pam was just getting too old to use. And he was right. He was right. He could tell that, Candus was, you know, um, brainless and willing to do about anything, right? Just like him. And they made a good match. They made a real good pair. And she was just as filthy as he was, and just as twisted minded and everything else, and just as inhuman when it comes to real feelings. Neither one of them had any. And birds of a feather flock together, right? That's just the way it is. I don't know. I don't know. Um, Maddie asked something there, right? Um, I don't know. You know, I can't say. I can't say. I mean, it seemed like everybody loving everybody in that group, right? It's like it's like 1960s all over again. 1960s, early 70s, um, all over again. Woodstock, right? Some kind of Woodstock shit going on with these people up at Ben Hill Road. Yeah, everybody, everybody's tripping and sharing, one another. I guess I don't even know. It's kind of weird to me. If you ask me, it's weird, but it is what it is. Ain't the first time, ain't the first time I've seen it. Ain't the first time I've seen it. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys that, that'll put their woman out there. That'll put their woman out there, for other people to have if there's something, for them to gain, which is pretty disgusting, you know. Um, and now it's the first time I've ever seen people, doing such evilness to children. I never saw that. I never saw them doing that evilness to kids. Um, you know, most people keep their kids safe, right? They keep their children safe. Um, no matter what they're doing, they keep the kids safe. But not on Ben Hill Road. But Don and Candus have, they got into it again. They had another out, and I guess Don put her out, right? Um, it went something like this. If you're not happy here, Candus, then won't you just effing leave? You didn't have no problem leaving before, right? What's up with you and that Freddie guy? Oh, I'll leave. I'll leave. I like Fred. All right? Shut up, Donnie. I could go. I don't have to be here. Well, if you don't have to be here, then get your dumb bitch ass the fuck out. Get out before I throw you out. Fuck you, Donnie. Fuck you. Right? Kind of like that. That's kind of like what was going on. And then, she got under his skin, like, like she has before after the kids went missing. And he put her on out. He put her on out the door. And she got in Dee Dee's car because she's got Dee Dee's car. That's why, that's why she's so mouthy. That's why she's so mouthy with Donald and everything right now. It's because she's got Dee Dee's car and she's got Dee Dee's, husband to run to and to cry to and to put on, a show for. And she runs to Dee Dee's husband. And that's probably where they're at right now, and in that cabin. Fred and Candus are probably cooped up in the cabin because Don Wells, he's up on Ben Hill Road. He's up on Ben Hill Road. He was missing. He was missing. He was missing off of Ben Hill Road, but I think it was to go to work. He was missing for a while, but he was back. So I don't know. Maybe he took a ride. Maybe he took a ride to see if she's back with Freddie Boy. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that they're both hiding. I do know they're both scared. I do know that, they both, like Candace ain't worried about Don telling on her because telling on her is going to take him down. And he ain't worried about Candace telling on him because telling on him is going to take her down. So, there's no reason for him. At first they felt that, they felt they had a deep, dark secret that that they needed to keep and they were, trying to be a little nice to one another because they didn't want the other one, at first they didn't know if one or the other might, break down and tell this deep, dark secret that they have. So they were trying to hold themselves together and hide, and hide their deep, dark secret. They felt that they were, they couldn't afford to do anything to split up or the other one might give it out. At this point, now it's, go ahead and tell. And you're going down too, bitch. You're going down, Donnie. Well, you're going down, Candace, right? Bitch, go tell, because we're all going down. So you go tell. That's basically where they're at this point in the relationship. How did Hunter's mom die? She died the exact same way Leslie did. She died exactly the same way her friend did. She supposedly had the flu, and she was, she got sick with the flu, and she fell, passed out, fell, hit her head so hard, it put her in a coma, and she didn't come out of the coma. That's the same way Leslie went. Leslie supposedly had the flu, fell, hit her head so hard, she went into a coma, and just didn't ever come out of it. And Allison went the same exact way. And Leslie was cremated, and Allison was cremated. Both of them cremated. And at the time Leslie passed away, Hunter, see, Allison lost the kids. Allison lost her children. Child Protective Services removed Allison's kids and placed Bear, the youngest one, with Leslie's daughter and husband. They placed Hunter with Leslie. And True was thank you. And True was so I appreciate it. And True was so old. She was already aging out, so they didn't really, they couldn't catch her. They didn't bother her. She wasn't placed really nowhere, because she was pretty much, you got to find her, right? You got to find her to place her somewhere, and she was just too old for all of that. So they did take Hunter. They did take Bear. They placed Bear with Leslie's daughter. They placed Hunter with Leslie, and something happened because Leslie went to Allison and said, "If you don't go to the police, I'm going to." And right after that, Leslie, supposedly fell, hit her head so hard she just passed away. And then Hunter went back to Allison's house. When he went back to Allison's house, supposedly he had took Allison's money, all of her rent money, like hundreds of dollars, and went and got tattoos with it. And Allison was really upset. And word is, I don't know, I don't know. This is just word. Word is that she told Hunter, that she shouldn't have protected him, that she may still go to law enforcement. He's out of control, and she maybe Leslie was right. She needed to go to law enforcement about whatever Leslie was wanting her to do. And the next thing you know, Allison fell, hit her head so hard that she passed away also. So, you got two women, both of them seem to pass away at the time that Hunter had done something traumatic. I mean, he had to do something traumatic for Leslie to come to the house and tell Allison, if she wasn't going to law enforcement, Leslie was. And I heard that's pretty much, what Allison told him after taking all of her rent money and acting out the way he was acting, because he had done fought with her boyfriend. He was demanding them, pushing his mom around. He was starting to push his mother around, and she was fed up with it. And I think she was going to tell. I think she threatened to go to law enforcement, just like Leslie, and tell. And she met her demise. That's my opinion. It's what it sounds like. It's what it sounds like to me. Because two women just don't die the exact same way around Hunter. And even his dad came and told me, PG, put 2 and 2 together, you get 4. Yeah, that's true. Put 2 and 2 together, you get 4. Absolutely. So that's pretty much, And what does Hunter, what dark secret does he have that he would be willing, in my opinion, this is my opinion. What dark secret does he have so dark that this boy would be willing to possibly take out his mother's best friend and his own mother? It's got to be something pretty, pretty dark for someone to, what I'm saying is it must be a real damn prison sentence, right? It must be a real damn prison sentence for him to do that. Hey, Zuya, I appreciate it. I appreciate Gifted One Prayer Garden of America membership. All right, girlfriend. I appreciate that's a gift that we'll keep giving. A gift, and I'm sure whoever got it is very appreciative of it. Thank you. God bless. Summer Moon, Utah will one day save many other innocent children. There are communities that abuse children. CPS and LE is on it. You know what? I think Summer's disappearance um, got law enforcement to move in on Marlena Crawford and save that little girl that was on the hill right before Summer went missing for almost a week. And with what they're doing up there, God only knows. God only knows what that child endured, right, at the hands of these evil people. And her mother, and her own mother. But they took that child and put it in a safe place. And they took Allison's mother's children, Sherry. Sherry lost all them kids who was up on the hill, and supposedly really bad stuff happened too. And they took Allison's kids who was up on that hill, and I mean, we saw pictures of what was going on there, right? We saw pictures. So there was some really, these were, in my opinion, these were child pedos up there, surrounding these children, and these children, had no say. They had no voice. They had no say over, what these evil people were doing to them. They were violating them, and they had no choice. They had no choice in all the matter. But when Summer came up missing, law enforcement got, wind of what was going on up there. They started removing all these kids to safe places, and thank God for that. But I think a few of those kids didn't get took soon enough. Like Hunter, for instance, I don't think he got took soon enough. Bear, his sister, I don't think she got took soon enough. She's really she's really a wild one too. She's a wild one. Also, she's not in Tennessee. She's in New York. But I'm gonna tell you, she's a handful. She's a handful. That's for sure. So I don't think, those kids didn't get saved. They didn't get saved soon enough. There was what I'm saying is there's no changing them. They were there too long. In that atmosphere of these evil people. That's my opinion.
It's gonna happen to him real bad and you just don't know it yet. Yep. When the time's right, you'll know.
No. Oh, I thought Sonic was like in the timeline. I wonder if it's the Rogersville one, because I go there all the time. Have you ever been to the Rogersville Sonic with Summer? No. Oh. Dang, I thought it was a little memory there every time I went to get a drink. Oh, I thought Sonic was like in the timeline. Did y'all go to Sonic? And y'all went to Sonic, right?
I don't know. This lady's talking to Candus like, you guys went to Sonic's, right? And she's like, sounds to me like she's mother freaking possessed, right? I mean, I'm listening to this video and I'm like, what the hell was that? What the hell? Where the hell did that voice come from? It sound like something off one of them weird, scary ass movies, right? Like, and it's like, what the hell? So I don't know. I mean, some of it you can hear clear, but some of it is just like he's screeching or something. It's like you need to look under your bed, right? If I was talking to somebody and I heard what sound like, some weird shit, coming out of a person from who knows where, I'd be like, looking around. I'd be looking around my fucking room, probably under my bed, like, what the hell? That's kind of scary, right?
Did y'all go to Sonic? No. Sonic was like in the timeline. I was just wondering if it was a Rogersville one all the time. Have you ever been to the Rogersville Sonic with Summer? No. Oh, dang.
Now the lady said, "Is there a timeline for Summer?" And Candus says no. She says no. And the woman said no. What is that about? What do you mean there ain't a timeline for Summer? Of course there's a timeline for Summer.
I thought it was a little memory there every time I went to get a drink.
That's Candus laughing. You hear her laughing? She's laughing. She thinks it's real funny, that this lady's asking her about a timeline. She's really, Candus sounds sick. She sounds sick and twisted, like she's really starting to she's really starting to sound, decrepit, if you ask me, like something from the crypts. Just mother freaking sinister and more evil and more twisted, and like she thinks she's untouchable, unstoppable. She's got some type of some type of trip she's on, some type of trip that she's tripping on right now. And I'm going to tell her she better be real fucking careful about, thinking that she's unstoppable or touchable or whatever, because law enforcement will come down on her ass like she don't even know, coming down on her ass. She might, I'm going to tell you what, I always heard the one that laughs last laughs the hardest, right? And she can laugh now. But I got a feeling there's a whole lot of people going to be getting the last laugh, Candus. Especially, those people who love Dee Dee. Those people who loved that woman and really cared about her. People who love Summer and really care about her. So you keep laughing. You keep laughing, because that's what the devil wants you to do. So he can laugh when that laugh gets took off your face by law enforcement. So you just keep laughing.
He's something's fixing to happen.
She says something's fixing to happen to Donald. Something's fixing to happen to him. She's talking about Donald right there. Something's fixing to happen to him.
Him real bad, he just don't know it yet.
Something real bad, he don't know it yet. Is that why he's got rid of her? Is that why, he put her out of the house? He don't want her around him no more? Because he feels he can't, if they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you, right? If they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you. So is he at this point, I'm not trusting this bitch. I don't even want her, I don't even want her around me. I don't want her around my house. I don't want her around my vehicle. I just don't want her around my food. I don't want her around me at all. I'm tired of keeping up, I'm tired of keeping her up. I kept her mother, and her up all these years because, the kids are up here and then I was able to be a sick, twisted human being, doing what I want to do. And I didn't care, about the money and stuff. But, every now all the fun's gone. And I can't be sick and twisted. And the only thing I get to look at is you. And I ain't going to keep this up anymore because, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You're running around with this Fred guy. See what happened to his wife. You sat there, you didn't call 911, you didn't give her CPR, you did nothing for this woman. Why the hell would I want you around me, Candus? Is that what Don's thinking? Why do I want you around me? What keeps you from doing some sinister stuff to me to try to get my property, to try to get everything I have, so you and Freddie can live happily ever after, right? I don't think so. I think he's scared. I think Don's scared of her. That's my opinion. I don't, you know what? I think Don's a coward. And to be honest, I think Don is too coward to do a job, to do something to someone like that himself. Don Wells wants to use other people. He used Candus to go to that swimming hole with Hunter. He used Candus to do all the dirty work while he was hiding at work, keeping alibis so no one can blame him. Just like Andy Bernard. Andy Bernard was at work and made sure everybody seen him, and was even driving, a GPS vehicle, so in case he needed it for the extra alibi on top of his, telephone. You can leave your phone somewhere, you can leave your phone somewhere, but you can't leave your vehicle, right? You need your vehicle to travel, especially in, places like Tennessee. If you're going to go very far, you need your vehicle. So, the thing is you've got Andy staying at work all day. You've got Don staying at work all day. You've got Grandis and Candus coming off the hill, picking up Hunter, going to that swimming hole, and then the next thing you see is little Summer propped up on some milk jugs, looking like she's no longer alive, even through the makeup. And she definitely looked like she had makeup on. And even through the makeup, she's looking like, she's not there. The bluing all over the sides of her head, and it looked like pink lipstick smeared the bottom of her lip, and her nail beds were already turning like the color that online people, turn. Her hands looked like they, were starting to draw stiff, the way people do. The hands will curl like that, because of the stiffness. And so, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think Summer was alive on those milk jugs. That's my opinion. And I think, Candus was, the one that was Don initiated Candus to get with Hunter and go do what they felt needed to be done to this innocent child, because I think it was a case of, take Summer to a hospital, save Summer, and go to prison, or save your asses and do what you did. And I think they did what they did because they worry more about protecting their asses than helping a little girl who, through their own abuse, by their own hands, they destroyed anyway. That's my opinion. I do not believe that, Summer got a hold of anybody's medication or anything like that. Summer was 5 years old, and the way Don and Candus partied down and all the stuff they had laying around, sitting around, they done taught those kids not to touch anything. They done taught them. I mean, Summer, had made a mistake of getting into some stuff when she was 3 years old. And I think after that, they taught those kids not to be touching anything in that house or anybody's. If it ain't given to you, you don't take it. That's my opinion. And not only that, but the medicine that Grandis picked up at the pharmacy have child-proof caps on them. They have child-proof lids. And Hunter was also right there. He was right there the whole entire time, um, overseeing everything. When they went through to pick up the medication, I don't believe Summer was even alive any longer. That's my opinion. I think she was unalived before they even went through Walgreens or Sonic's or to the store. That's my opinion. Because Hunter said Summer was the only one wet in the car, laying. He said she was on the pillow laying against the driver's side door. If she was alive, why in the hell would she be laying against the driver's side door? Why would she be laying there? I mean, you've got Grandis in the vehicle, Candus in the vehicle, Hunter in the vehicle, and Summer, she would have been up. She'd have been awake. She would have wanted to, she would have wanted to see Allison and them. She would have wanted to get back to Hunter's house and see Allison and see everybody and get out of the vehicle, because that's who Summer is. Summer is, and she slept, she had slept all night. The tree trimmer said that, when they went out of Ben Hill Road that morning, they saw Summer in the vehicle and she was asleep because Donald carried her out and put her into Grandis's vehicle before, and then he went to work, and right after he left, Candus and Grandis came out of Ben Hill Road. And he had put her in there. So that tells me, that she got plenty of rest. She wouldn't have been going back to sleep. And not only that, but after playing in cold water like that, you're not going to be tired anyway, because water wakes you up. Water wakes you up. It don't make you go to sleep. Well, the tree trimmer said she was. And I believe that. I believe that he did pack her to the vehicle. I do believe he put her in the vehicle. And, I think if Candus and Grandis if they weren't plotting something sinister, on this one child, I think they would have left her home sleeping with the boys. I got a feeling that they would have they'd have went to the hospital alone. They would have just left Summer home too. I think the reason, and I think if they wasn't, planning something sinister, yeah, right, Lisa. Um, but I think they would have took all the kids. I believe that Candace would have had all the kids in the vehicle because she wasn't going in with her mother, right? She wasn't going in the emergency room with Grandis. Grandis went in all by herself. Candace is sitting out in the vehicle, you know. Um, no, there's no reason that Candace couldn't have took all the kids to the doctors. Oh yeah, I think he is now. You know what I think? I believe. This is just my opinion. I believe that Dawn. I believe that whatever happened to Summer, that made her need a doctor to save her. Whatever happened to Summer that they felt that they needed to destroy her like that. Um, I believe caused some monsters to be created, some real evil monsters to be created. What I'm saying is, when they all started plotting against this little girl on how they're going to save their backsides from going to prison, right? They're going to keep from going to prison. I believe that, you know, and my personal opinion is when they plotted on her and Candace and Grandis and Hunter was chosen to do the dirty deed, right? To do the to do the dirtiest part of it. Um, I think that it gave them some type of rush. What they did, once they done it. I think at first they were scared. I think at first they were panicking. I think at first, they were feeling all the signs of a normal human being would feel, doing this kind of evilness. But I think once they done it, once it was over and they had done it, I think that, they they felt, they started to feel powerful. I think they started to feel like, um, that, they have, that they're capable, I think they liked, they relished in the evilness that they feel they're capable of doing, if that makes any sense to you. If it makes any sense to you. What I'm saying is the first person, for people who unlie people, they will always tell you the first one was the hardest. The first one was the hardest one. After the first one, you know, it didn't bother them anymore, right? They didn't care. Um, and they like the rush. They like the rush that you know, they get. They like the feeling of, doing stuff like that and getting away with it. It makes them feel some kind of power. And they're just sick. They're sick and they're twisted. I mean, of course, they wouldn't want nobody to do that to them. Of course, they're afraid that someone will end up doing it to them. That's why they're always, watching their ass. And they're cowards. I mean, they'll do to others what, they're afraid of happening to themselves. But, this coward feels powerful. This coward feels like somebody. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Um, I would think that they'd feel. I think they would feel like the shady, shitty fucking coward they are. Myself. I mean, I would think they'd feel ashamed of how sick and twisted they are. What a fucking coward they are. to do people the way they're doing. I think I would think they would be able to see, the true piece of crap they are. And, instead of, instead of a good person and a person worthy of praise and everything, and a person, that that is not a coward, and wouldn't do that to people unless, forced to do it. Um, they're just sick. They're sick, twisted, and they don't see their own shame, their own embarrassment, their own cowardness, their own, freaky fucking way, right? They just don't see it, and that's disgusting. Right, Deputy Sheriff? I agree with that. I have to agree with that. Absolutely. But I think that put a one in the chat if you think Don's afraid now. Put a one in the chat if you think put a one in the chat if you think that Don's starting to say, hey, if they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you. I don't think I want this bitch around me. You know, she's hanging on to this other guy 3 or 4 weeks after Dee Dee passes away. She's driving around his vehicle, and it's a good chance this bitch might try to, end up owning everything I got, talking about how, no, I didn't call 911 for Donnie. No, I poked him a couple of times and sat in a chair for a few hours. And, he was old anyway. They can't figure out what took him out, but, he's gone. Right? Yeah. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. I agree with y'all. I agree 150%. I think old boy's scared. I think old boy is scared. And he has damn good reason to be. I think that they created a couple of monsters, to be honest with you. I think, when Don and whoever's involved in this group of people put Candus and Hunter at the front of everything to do the sinisterness of it. I think they created a couple real freaking monsters, to be honest with you. And I think that, I think that Hunter doesn't care. He doesn't care, what he does to people now. And I don't think Candus quite cares what she does to him, because they're feeling some kind of power in all of this, in all of this on-living and not getting caught. No repercussions. They're starting to feel the power. That's just, and like Candus said, it's right here.
He's fixing to happen to him real bad, and he just don't know it yet.
Something's fixing to happen to him real bad, and he don't know it yet. Something's fixing to happen to Donnie real bad, and he don't know it yet. I personally believe, that's just my opinion, you guys. Oh, they're evil, honey. They're evil. I don't think, the problem with humans like us, well, I can't say us. I'd have to say, most of you. Because, I've had my eyes opened to this evilness. I had my eyes open to this shit a long time ago. I had to face that these kind of people were in the world, right? I had to face it. Didn't want to, but I had to, because these kind of people are very dangerous. But for most people, they don't have, they didn't ever have to face this. And I wish I wouldn't have. But for the average person out there, for the average person, before I was forced to understand this type of evilness and that it existed, I was like all of you. I was just like you. I wanted to think good of everybody. I wanted to look at the good, see the good. And, I just thought everybody, everybody loves everybody, right? Live and let live. I just thought that, um, you can, you can agree to disagree, hug it out, everything's good, you know, um, move on your way. I thought you could, I thought you could trust everybody, that, the people around you, these people's your friends, your family, um, loving, caring co-workers, all these good things. And, they might, they might be mean. They might get a little ugly. They might, you might have altercations with them, but, they're not evil enough to do anything drastic or too evil to you, right? Um, you think that, hey, they might, um, act like your friend and steal your pocketbook, steal your makeup, steal your money, maybe beat up your car if they're mad at you. They might do a few sinister little things, nothing you can't fix, you can't regain. But I'm going to tell you something. These cowardly motherfuckers go after your health. These cowardly son of a bitches are evil as hell. And I'm going to tell you what. You be going to the doctors. You be going to the doctors looking for some natural causes as to why you're feeling like shit. And the doctor can't find anything. They can't find nothing. They can't find no reason that you're feeling like shit. They try to make stuff up. They try to make things up. Well, it could be this, it could be that. And you know what? When you stay away from these people, ain't got none of them around you, you regain your health. You regain everything. Then you go back around these cocksuckers, and next thing you know, you ain't feeling good again. And then you start to understand, oh, this ain't my health. This is these weirdos around me, right? These are some sick people around you. And then you find out you're right. Then you find out you're right, that these people are evil. These people, are evil enough to put stuff in your drink. They're evil enough to, to do some real evil stuff to you. You didn't know how evil they was. You didn't know how greedy and selfish and self-seeking and self-centered them son of a bitches were, that you thought had your back and you had theirs. You didn't know they were harboring all kinds of sinister ugliness within themselves. You didn't realize they were demons. You didn't realize how sick and how demonic that these mother freakers really were. You didn't realize behind your back they were trying to make everybody hate you and dislike you and get them on board with trying to hurt you, just like they was. But that's what you got on Ben Hill Road. And what you got up there is a fucking occult. You got some devil worshiping, sick, weird, off the wall human beings up there. And whether you want to face it or you don't, they're there. And they're not just on Ben Hill Road. These mother freakers are all over our country. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. It can be your friends, it could be your coworkers, it could be your family. They're everywhere and they're sinister. And you don't have to do a damn thing to them for them to target you and try to destroy you. And this time they ain't coming for, they're not coming for your pocketbook. They're not coming for your, your man. They're not coming for your vehicle. They're coming, honey, for you. These cowardly mother freakers are now coming for you. They're looking for some way, any way they can, to get to whatever you eat or medicines you take or makeup you put on your face. They're targeting you. So, if you ain't keeping your eyes open, you ain't watching, and you ain't ready for it to see it when it comes, you're going to get got. You're going to get got. That's just how it is. You're going to get got. And they make stuff up. They make stuff up, man. I'm going to tell you something about these lying son of a bitches. They'll make shit up on you. They'll say you did shit that you didn't, because in their mind they got something to gain. Like Candus, for instance, she wanted Fred. And she started getting ugly with Dee Dee. She started a couple weeks before this happened to Dee Dee. She started to get ugly with her, and Dee Dee told people. And Candus, Candus was starting to talk bad about Dee Dee. She's starting to talk bad. She was wanting to get people to dislike Dee Dee. So when what happens to Dee Dee, nobody's going to care, right? Nobody's going to care, and that's what they do. That so you'll say, well, maybe she deserved it. Oh, that's sad, who cared, that person's a monster anyway. Because that's what the evil people are out to do, or they sit there and, and you have some that take the other route. Some of them will say, oh, I was taking care of this person and I was there for them and I was helping them and I was so good to them and all of this stuff, and they just, and I wish they were still here and all this stuff, when they know that they mother freaking destroyed that person. They know they destroyed that person, right? But they'll play like, they loved this person, they cared about this person, they was helping this person. Yeah, they helped them all right. They helped them right into the ground. That's where they helped them, because that person had something they were wanting. And Dee Dee had everything Candus wanted. Candus wanted her husband. Candus wanted those homes. Candus wanted her vehicle. Candus wanted to be Dee Dee. She wanted to be Dee Dee. She wanted to be in Dee Dee's bed, Dee Dee's car, eating Dee Dee's food, spending Dee Dee's money, sleeping around with Dee Dee's old man. That's what she was seeking. And it sounds like she got it. Sounds to me like she got it. Right? Just saying. I mean, this woman passes away and there is no explanation to why this young 50, just in her 50s, 50-some-year-old lady passed away. There was no damn reason for it. None. Absolutely none. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Anytime you give someone, you administrate, anytime you administrate some type of substance to a human, like, something vital. It takes out the heart. It takes the person's heart out. Okay? Medication takes the heart out. That's what I'm talking about. And what happens is the hospitals and the coroners and stuff, they don't want to think. They don't want to think about, they don't want to think about, it's like a long time ago, back in history. A lot of children, came up unalived, right? Babies, a lot of babies came up unalived. And the doctors would be like, oh, it's SIDS. It just stopped, it just stopped breathing. And this happens, nobody was there to do nothing. And it just stopped. And a lot of people got away with unliving these children, right? A lot of them did. Matter of fact, a few women got away with doing one child and then 2 children and 3 children and 4 children. And finally, the hospital or the doctors would catch on if they were in the same, if they stayed in the same town or the same place. The doctor would get nosy, or the hospital, and say, hey, I remember this lady just having a kid like this before. And didn't she have another one? And then they would, they would start investigating, and yeah, the person would go to prison, right? They would go to prison after 3 or 4 are done like this. But, there's not 3 or 4 DDs. There's only one. And usually they get away when it's just one, right? Just one. Because hospitals, want to try to look for some natural cause, and coroners want to try to look for some natural cause, and when they really ain't one, they'll just write it off. They'll just write it off as like an infant, that the adult passed away, with no clear reason, right? That's it. That's just what they do. I ain't understanding that. Maybe Fred paid Candus to get rid of DD. He had to pay alimony. As Fred is gone, him and Ziggy live somewhere else. I don't know. Well, Fred, for one, Fred wouldn't had to pay anything, probably because Dee Dee was the breadwinner. She's the one that had all the money. I think if anything, Fred would have been afraid that, he just wouldn't have had a place to live or a car to drive, or, everything belonged to Dee Dee. So he would have been as homeless as Candus, right? See, these people ain't afraid of having to pay you nothing. These people want what you got. They want what you have. It's like, people today, like children, for instance. Children expect to get everything that their parents own. If their parents own anything, they expect to get it. Now, some kids don't like to wait. Some kids don't like to wait to get that inheritance. They're thinking, you think your kids don't think about that inheritance? You don't think they think about what they can get in their pocketbook or their pocket? You don't think that, that they ain't thinking how, how that money could benefit them? Big lump sum of money. They might, kids today, they don't respect, they expect. They expect you to buy them everything. They expect you to take care of them. They'll tell you, you had me, I didn't have you. You're supposed to take care of me. That's your job. These kids don't have respect like they once did. These kids don't see how hard their parents worked to get what they got. They don't think about getting a job and working just as hard as mommy and daddy and getting their own. Kids don't say, my mom and dad work day and night. They say, man, I don't want to work day and night I don't want to work day and night like that. I'm used to laying around getting everything I want you know, and I want, I don't want to work for it. So how am I going to get it? They might get, you don't know. They might decide, to help you out of this world so they can get, what you got. I mean, a lot of people can't trust their kids. Look at the Mendez brothers. Look at the Mendez brothers, right? What did they do to their parents to get everything? And then I think they told a lot of lies. I think they told a whole lot of lies because they were going where they wanted to go, doing what they wanted to do. I mean, they could stay gone for years if they wanted to, living off their parents' money, right? They didn't even have to be there. They didn't even have to be at their parents' house. They could just be wherever they wanted to be, doing what they wanted to do. And I think, and at a certain time, I think that parents, I think what happened is the Mendez brothers' parents said, hey, we ain't going to keep you up forever. You're going to, just like us, you're going to have to get educated. You're going to have to get jobs and you're going to have to get your own, right? We can't keep you up forever. Well, why not? Why not? And I think that they started thinking, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Them pushing us to get, that money. What are we going to do? And they decided, to take out their parents. That's what they did. Oh, Lord. I got my kid's uncle in the room tonight, and he is, he is like moving around. Oh, Lord. He just likes to hang with PG. I don't know why. Like I'm going to disappear. Like I'm going to disappear if he ain't there. I don't know. But anyway. No, I didn't take the chair out of the office, and he was scooting it across the floor so he can, um, get a better view of the screen, my computer screen. And I'm like, what the hell you doing? And he's like, I can't see the screen. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, stop moving stuff, right? You guys don't know. You got to know him. You got to know him. He follows me around. He follows me around. So I don't move nothing. For real. He follows me. I moved my bed last night. And he about lost it. But he follows me around, so I don't move nothing, right? So I don't pick up and move things. You know. But this is my kid's uncle. This ain't my husband. My husband is probably in the bedroom watching sports or watching something on TV, with a cold drink, probably a bag of popcorn, living it up, This is my kid's uncle in here, following me around, making all kinds of noise. Yeah, I'm talking about you. He had a look on his face like, who, me? Oh my gosh. And then when I get off of here, he'll be like, you know what you do. You know you do stuff all the time you're not supposed to be doing. Not right now. Somebody's got to watch you. I'm like, yeah, you're just bored and want to hang out with me. Right? He'd rather hang out with me than go hang out with the kids. I know, right, Jessica? Exactly. I mean, you're freaking. You're like you're pregnant, right? You're pregnant. You're not helpless. You're just pregnant. That's what I try to tell them. They ain't listening to me. Somebody's following me all the time. If it ain't the kid's uncle, it's my daughter. If it ain't my daughter, it's Mr. Fix-It. If it ain't Mr. Fix-It, it's my husband. I've always got someone trying to follow me. Last night I was able to get away from them for a little while. And I came up and locked my bedroom door, because I've been wanting to move my bed, right? So I came up and locked my bedroom door on them to move my bed. And you could hear it. Like, when you move something, like you heard him moving a chair, you could hear the bed move, and next thing I know, what are you doing in there? What are you doing in there? I was like, oh my gosh. Moving the effing bed. Right? I'll open the door when I'm done. Yeah, I know they love me. I know they do, but it can get overwhelming. It can get overwhelming when people, on you all the time, when they're on you 24/7. Right now, PG's going through a lot of stress. I'm going through a lot of stress. I got my husband, hogging the bed. I got my uncle and my kids following me around. I got a lot. I got all these people who are excited, so many people excited. And it's like, oh yeah, you're telling me, girl. You're telling me. I know, Parker, right? It's not good. It's not good at all. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to this. But Candus, here she is. Why are you always talking about me? She says, why are you always talking about me? I hope you are well. F them people, she says. F them people. And that's how she really feels about everybody, you guys. That's how she feels about everybody. No shit. I don't realize it um, at the time. I didn't realize it at the time, she says. This is her talking. But there's a certain part here. There's a certain part here I want to land on. Um, she says YouTube is evil people are so mean. Yes, I do it, but I do you now. How much money? I guess she meant, do you know? Let me go back here. What the fuck? Um, yes, I do it, but do you? She meant no. She put now. No, how much money everyone has made on them but me? Whoa. How much money they made uh, on them but me? I think she's talking about Summer's case. I think she's talking about Summer's case. And she's saying, the creators were making money on Summer's case and not her. And not her. Um, Candus and Don Wells brought in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gift cards, cash apps, Venmo, PayPal, wish list, you name it. From what I heard, like thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Thousands and thousands. And I think they got a payoff from somebody that, I think they got a payoff from somebody that was the reason that the summer had to be done the way she was, the way she was done. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I think somebody went too far and hurt Summer to where she needed medical attention that they could not get. And I think Don and Candus took videos, and I do think that they got a kickback of a lump sum to keep their mouth shut. That's my opinion. Just saying. Because somebody saw where Candus went to the bank and took out like $20, and she had like 90 some $1,000 left in the bank account. 90 some $1,000. Here she is. F them people. I'm over all of them. You can't hurt me no more. I'm bringing you up. If you want to close camera, sweetie, you can. I'm going to bring you on the panel. So I can't hear you. I can't hear you until I bring you on panel. But if you want to close your camera, you can close your camera, sweetie, so no one can see you. Hold on. I can pop you up and then cover you up.
Hello.
Hello, sweetie.
I don't know how to close the camera.
It's got where you can, like a microphone, and you can push
I see it.
and then there's right next to it should be a camera, and you can push the camera and it'll take you off the camera. It'll just give you an avatar. You want to push the one that looks like a camera, not the one that looks like a microphone.
I don't know which one it is. I don't care. I'm just going to come up here and tell you what I know.
Okay.
Um, I'm from the area,
Okay.
Um, and my daughter, my daughter and her husband used to go to church with the Wells. Or they didn't go
Oh,
with them, but they went to the same church.
right. Do tell.
And I went with them. I didn't go to church there, but if my grandkids were in a play or whatever, I would go there and watch them because they went to that church. And I never saw the kids there. This was only after Summer went missing that I saw Dawn and Candace at the church.
Okay.
And
Was you there when he came up on the panel, and instead of asking for everyone's help to find Summer, he asked for forgiveness? Was you there that day?
at the church,
Yeah.
no, but I saw the video.
Yeah. Wasn't
Yeah,
that strange?
that was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
That was very strange. But what do you want to know? I'll tell you. You know, I
Um,
did. I did talk to a TBI agent today at the Fall Branch. You've heard of Fall Branch, haven't you?
yes, I believe I have.
It's right outside of Beach Creek.
Right.
They had a Christmas parade this morning, and we went. And this guy that's friends with my husband is a big TBI agent. I don't remember his name. I wouldn't give it out on here anyway.
Right.
But my husband said, "Don't ask him anything because he's probably not allowed to talk about it." Well,
Right.
when he come out there and talked to us, and my husband introduced me to him because we just got married, he said, I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And he said, "What?" And I said, "You probably can't answer me, but I'll try." And he said, "Okay." And I said, "Do you all think," and I was talking about TBI because he's the big
Mhm.
TBI agent. I said, "Do you all think that Summer Wells has passed away?" And he looked at me and he shook his head yes. And he said, "Yes."
Oh wow.
He said,
I knew that.
I wasn't here when they did the search on the 13th over there on Van Hill Road.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "So I don't really know details much of it, but I'm sure he does. He just can't talk about
Right.
it." And I didn't ask him nothing else. I said, "Can I just ask you one question?"
Well, I know the
But
church. I know the church kind of turned away from Don and Candace both.
no, I don't know. My daughter don't go there anymore.
Yeah, Don was
But,
real distraught about the church turning. He told me, he says, "Sissy," he said, we're thinking about not going back there." I said, "Why are you thinking about not going back?" And he said, "They're pretty much all turned from us." And I said, "Well, how about Robin and her family?" He's like, "Her husband turned on us too."
oh,
He said,
really?
he said, "Everybody's turned on us, sissy, except the preacher and Robin." He said, "They're the
I
only two in the
I
whole
don't
church
know.
that treat him with respect."
I don't know anything about that. I do know Robin, and she's a wonderful person. I will tell you
Yeah.
that.
I think she
She
was
has.
hanging in there till she couldn't hang in there no more.
I hadn't talked to Robin in a while, but I talk to her every now and then because she went to that church also. And
Mm-hmm.
I think she just wanted to do the
Righteous
right thing,
reform.
until
Right.
proven differently.
Yeah,
Uh,
at the beginning, I think she did. But I
yeah,
think the more she hung in there, the more she started to realize the truth. And I
probably.
And I think at that last vigil they had at the church, when Candace and Don ran from, that weird guy that showed up acting like he had, some weird fetish with Summer and some,
That David Dotson.
no, it wasn't David Dotson. It was the guy that just came out of the blue. Nobody's ever seen him or knew him before. And he just showed out of the blue. And, that night that they was having the visual talking about how he's going to find, it's like he knew Summer, like he knew the Wells and he knew
I don't
Summer,
know. I don't know who that is.
and
Who that would be?
they ran away and left Robin there with this weirdo.
Oh my
and
goodness.
and I think Robin just was so, I think she, her eyes were open to the truth, and she was so fed up with them that she just came right out and she said, there's brownies and cupcakes downstairs if you all want any. There's plenty of them. If take some home if you want to. Where Summer's at, she don't need no brownies and cupcakes.
Right.
And I think she just wanted to let people know, hey, I've been in this and I've been around it, and I'm going to let you know, wherever
Yeah.
Summer is, she's not with us.
She's
That's for
done Robin has done a lot for them. I mean,
oh yeah.
she went up there and cleaned their house and
Mm-hmm.
done all kinds of clean those kids' toys up
And
because they were all so dirty.
yeah, and she helped Candus. She took a Candus insisted that she take because Robin's like, let us clean these toys up and bring them back, and and Candus is like, no, I give them to other kids, So and that right there shows that Candus knew them kids weren't coming back because she's
Well,
telling Robin to give all that stuff away that she don't want it back.
right. Well, me and my brother had gone up there twice to their house.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we went, I forget what we took them a bunch of canned foods. This is back when it first happened.
Right.
And because we live in Jonesboro, so we don't live far from there. And we took them some canned foods, and I had called Robin and asked her if she could let Candace know that I was going to drop some stuff off. And when I got there, I couldn't go up that driveway. I wasn't about to try with my car, and but we dropped off some canned foods at the bottom of their driveway. Well, as we were leaving, we passed Dawn and Candace coming in
Right.
to their, on the road. And so I stopped and I told her who I was. And I said, did Robin tell you I was going to bring some canned foods by? And she said, yes. And Dawn, I was trying to talk to them, make conversation. And they got out and got the food that I had brought to them and put it in their Subaru. They had a dog in the car that had peed all in their car, they told me.
Oh.
And and then they went and, they said thank you. Dawn seemed very appreciative. She didn't seem so much.
Right. That's
Um,
exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know them. Okay, I just know. I mean, if I saw them, they might recognize me.
Right.
And but I don't know them like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I just knew they went to church with where my daughter used to go, and that's how I met them.
Right.
And at first, I thought I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, and in my opinion, I thought, and still do, deep down, I still do. I've always felt like, in my opinion, that something happened to Summer at Warriors Path that day, and that they've covered it up. I honestly believe that.
I do too. I, you know,
I
I
don't think there
think
was an abduction. I don't think she ran away.
absolutely not. Well,
Uh,
they was telling law enforcement she didn't run away and that she, wouldn't have walked away. She ain't out there. We know she ain't out there. Well, if you know she's not out there, then you got to know where she is,
exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
and I think they used Grandis's knee to go into Kingsport to pick up Hunter
I don't
to
believe
go
that
to that
story.
swimming hole and destroy that little girl, in my opinion, because
Well, I agree. I don't think. I think Hunter knows too.
well, I think that Hunter, I think Candace, that's why she gave him the twisted tea and God knows what else before he went in that water. I think she was trying to buzz him up so that to encourage him up to do what she wanted him to do, and
Yeah.
I think that you know I think that he didn't realize really what he had done till after he had done it. And I think that's why when he got home, he would, ran to his room and he was shaking and
Yeah.
his,
There's a reason for all that.
acting really weird and abnormal and all shook up and everything. Um, I think that, he was talked into doing an evil deed to protect Don and Candace because Don tried to sell his son.
Yeah, I
to
remember.
some people in Utah.
I remember hearing
Over,
about that on YouTube.
hmm and over in Arkansas, him and Pam was running some child stuff, and a bunch of children got took. They would go to homeless soup kitchens and stuff, and pick up these girls and families with children, bring them, substance abusers, and
Right,
bring them back to their place, and then have people come in and take. One
right,
girl that was there who had a baby taken said that that these men would come in, they take the baby, and well, and give them some stuff,
right.
and take the baby, and then a few hours later, an hour, a few hours, however long, she said they bring the baby back, and and she said, and then one day, law enforcement pulls up and they called child protective services in, and all the kids got took for SA, and nobody got their kids back, not even her.
That's
She
so
didn't get her
sad.
child back either. And she, so she basically told what was going on, and, what they had running over there at Pam and Don's house. And that's how Don got with Candus. It's when law enforcement and the heat got too hot. He got out of there. There were some people arrested, but Don had gotten out of there with Candus, and then they stayed homeless for months until um, a lady let Candace and Don move in for just 1 second
Right.
into her house. Candace was big belly. She felt sorry for him and let him move in for a minute. And they trapped her at her refrigerator. They trapped this woman, and she was fearing for her life.
That's
And
scary.
and she said if a friend hadn't have came in, seen what was going on, and ran back out and got help, that she don't know what would have would have happened to her. But
Yeah. I don't know. I just, wanted to see what was going on. It was just, I was just all involved, or not involved in it, but all interested in the case because I knew it was local, and I knew they
mhm,
went to my daughter's church. So it
right.
was just like, this is crazy.
And what is I mean, like, what does your daughter think? What is
She
her?
she don't say. She just pretty much says that little girl's not here anymore, Mom.
Oh, yeah,
She said it's been four
absolutely.
years.
I think that Don Wells, I think we all knew that Don and Candace did it when Don, changed up his vehicle. He started driving her vehicle, for the extra alibi, Starlink, and fired his coworker to blame it on. I think right at that second we understood that they had all to do with it, because why did he need the extra alibi on the 15th? Why did
I
he
don't.
need to fire his coworker to blame it on if he didn't know it was going to happen? I mean, that right there, in my opinion, should have been enough evidence to arrest all of them son of bitches.
I agree. I just don't understand why they've not been just questioned and, beat down to where they, can't hardly think. I don't get
Right.
that. I don't. There's too much. Say they didn't have anything to do with Summer going missing or whatever happened to Summer. I still feel like, in my opinion, that they're still guilty because of the unsupervision that those kids had
Right. Well,
and the people they had hanging around.
I think if someone would have really, really came up there and took their daughter off, or Summer would have just disappeared, you know, say possibly walked off. I think if this little girl really would have just poofed, been gone, and they couldn't find her, I I think that they would have, personally, in my opinion, I think they would have been out here more talking. I think they would have been, uh,
Right.
way more with Don, knowing Don and Candace the way we do. they'd have been a lot angrier. They would have been saying a lot more evil stuff about whoever did it. They would have been
Right.
participating and cooperating and,
I
you
think their
know,
actions said everything.
yes, I think so too. You know,
And
hiding and not looking for their daughter, not doing nothing. I mean, why are you going to hand out flyers and want billboards or reward funds when you know
yeah.
that it could backfire on you? When you know that um, you already know what happened. I mean,
Well,
why would you?
for a long time, in my opinion, I felt like that maybe Dawn didn't know anything. Maybe she had just
Oh,
made that
you
story
did.
up and
Mm-mm.
told him that.
Nope.
I don't know. I feel like he knows now.
The way no, he knew the day. He actually knew the whole time because he was the main brain plotting all
Well,
of this on this little girl.
but
That's
when
my opinion because
but like
he
when you would talk to him in person though, he was always the one that was just all upset and sad and looked like he was about to cry, and she just acted normal. Like nothing
um
happened.
I talked to Don and Candace quite a bit, and I'm going to tell you something. Um Candace Candace told me, she said, called me up. She says, Sissy, you need to talk to Donnie for me. I said, talk to Donnie about what? She said, you need to team up with me and talk to Donnie um, about going to the fair with the PIs. The PIs want to go to the fair, and Donnie's wanting to do a live with Cher and stay on and spend time on YouTube instead of going to the fair with me and the PIs. And I was thinking, to hand out flyers and to look
The
for
f-
this little girl. And what
right.
the hell's Don's problem? He's got a missing daughter. Ain't going to find her on YouTube. Get your ass out there and hand those flyers out with the PIs and Candus. Look for this little girl. Get your butts out there and do something. This woman's wanting to look for her child, and this dumbass wants to be on YouTube. Of course, Candace, I'm going to talk to Don with you.
Mhm.
And a little bit later, Don shows up as we're talking, and she said, he's here, Sissy. And I said, well, put him on the phone, put it on speaker. And she did. And I told Donald, I said, hey, Donald, what's up? I said, why are you not wanting to go to the fair, to hand out flyers and do all of this stuff. And Candace all of a sudden says, no, it's not about her. It's not about her. I said, what? And she's like, no, Sissy, it's not about her. I want us to have fun. I want us to be like we were before we had any kids. I want just me and Donnie.
I mean, who
I
would
just
say
want,
that
I was like,
after losing
what
all their
the
children?
hell? Who said what?
I said, I can't imagine saying something like that after I'd lost all my children.
She did. Straight up. Straight up. God is my witness.
Now, she
That's
did tell me,
exactly, and I'm quoting her, baby. She said, it's not about her. It's not about Summer.
I recorded a call that I had with her over the phone, and Don B actually has the recording. I sent it to him probably, shoot, I don't know, 2, 3 years ago. And he played it the other day, part of it. You may have heard it. It was somebody on the phone talking to Candace. That was me.
And what did she say to you?
I can't remember. I had the recording for a long time, and then I just don't have it anymore. But
Are
he still has it.
was you the one asking her about the timeline?
No.
And no, you went and talked to her about the timeline.
Mm-mm.
Um,
She was telling me about that. She told me that on Christmas, either Christmas Day or New Year's Day, that after Summer went missing, that this guy that they've known for
Wayne
years,
Morlock. Wayne Morlock.
yes, showed up at their house wanting Dawn to go out partying.
Mm-hmm.
And Dawn told him no, that he wasn't going, that he didn't want to go. And I don't know, that's all she said about it. And it's even all this is on that recording. But I said, do you think he might have had something to do with Summer going missing? She goes, I don't know. She said, Dawn used to take Summer to his house sometimes. She said, but he likes little boys.
What?
Talking about the Morlock guy.
Oh my God. Well,
And
I'm going to tell
I
you, I'm
thought,
glad you came up here, honey, because
I did. I mean, I'm just telling the truth, and
that explains
I
a
don't want
lot,
Dawn and Candace to be, to be mad at me because I'm
right?
speaking the truth. I mean, like
And
I said, I don't know them personally, but
right,
I took Candace to eat one day. I just called her up one day and I said, "Do you want to go eat lunch?" And I was going to try to record her in the car and on my phone, and I was like, no, I'm not even going to try that because if she figures out that I'm recording her, she might do something to me, you know.
right,
And but I took her to eat at Zaxby's in Kingsport, and she said she had never ate there before, and she didn't eat much of her food, but she took it with her,
right,
and she just didn't say nothing. She wouldn't say nothing. And I didn't want to pressure her because I didn't want her to think that I was trying to get information.
right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And she did tell me. I did ask her, I said, "Do you think she's still alive?" And she said, "I do. I think she's still alive somewhere."
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all she would say about Summer. She talked about the boys more than she did Summer,
Because
but not even much about them.
because Don and Candace, you know, if you took note, Don wanted to talk about his sisters. Once he found out that he wasn't going to go to jail for it, that he was under the old statue instead of the new one that don't run out. He wanted to talk about his sisters. He wanted to talk about religion. He wanted to talk about everything and anything. He wanted to throw all his neighbors and anybody he could under the bus and get the focus on them instead of on himself or Summer. Him and Candace was putting Summer in the dark and in the dark and in the dark, and they were putting themselves in the light with all of these bullshit um, comments
Right,
that they felt people wanted to listen to, people wanted to hear, which would take the focus off of them. Now they got Summer in the background in the dark, then to take the focus off of them and put it on everybody else.
right.
And that's how they was playing it, and that's how they was getting all the money, and how they were working people, and didn't think people were going to catch on to it, when behind the scenes, Dom didn't want the billboards. He's like, how come they just can't give me the fucking money, sissy? And I'm like, Don, giving you money ain't going to find your daughter. Well, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't need no fucking billboards. And no, I'm not going to be out there watching them, take, unveil it
Yeah.
in the middle of the fucking night, he said. And I'm like, whoa. And then he's like, um, the reward fund, once he found out he couldn't get it, he was like, F that reward fund. Nobody cares about that reward fund. He really wanted it gone. And I basically had to call him up and tell him, when they was getting ready to take it, I said, I'm going to tell you something. Uh, I know you don't care about it, and I understand that. I said, but I'll tell you what, if you don't get your ass down there and try to save it, everybody's going to mother freaking see, that you and Candace are even bigger pieces of shit than they thought you were. And you let Candace know that, that support you guys have got coming in, well, it's going to be out the freaking window when this little girl's, reward fund gets put down the drain because your ass wouldn't go down there and stand up for her, and you being her dad. That's what
Yeah.
people expect of you. That's what I expect of you, and that's what you need to get down there and do.
I would
And he
be
did.
still looking for my child.
He went and he did it, but he did it, for parents' reasons, not anything else, because he didn't want that reward fund anyway, because they couldn't get it. And he also didn't want the billboards, and they didn't hand out no flyers. Matter of fact, there's witness, I got a witness that, they burned, that they was outside burning piles of those
They were burning up there one time. I remember they were
House
burning a bunch of stuff.
for like a week straight, and half of it was flyers.
They
Half of
said
it
that they
was,
were trying to
was
clean up,
yeah,
like get rid of
well,
stuff.
it was stacks and stacks and stacks of flyers that they had sitting inside the house.
See, that's just
And
strange.
yeah, because they knew, they
Right. They knew
Donald
what happened.
Donald, I'm going to tell you, the minute I knew that he changed up the vehicles and fired his coworker to blame everything on, that they had plotted against this little girl to destroy her, and that's what they did. They
I
knew
don't
exactly what they were going to do that day. It was all planned out, and and because these people were they I in my opinion, this is my opinion, that not only Don Wells was using and abusing that little girl in a very evil way, but he was allowing other people to do so as well. And they were
I
videoing,
agree.
and they
I
were
agree.
videoing it. And I think someone went too far. I don't know who, but I think somebody went too far. They hurt this little girl, and the only way she could be fixed is going to a hospital. And they're like, hell no, because we're not going to prison for this. And they got that boy. They got that boy to destroy her. And I'm going to tell you, you seen her out when they put the video on her. You seen her playing, this poor little girl. There she is
Smiling.
playing. And as soon as she seen Hunter. As soon as she turned around and seen him coming at her, you could tell she froze. She got scared.
You
She
could.
knew. She
Yeah,
knew. This little girl already knew. And
I
I'm going
think
to
so
tell you,
too.
that was just pure fucking evil if I've ever seen evil.
I think
And
that before she went missing, there was evil stuff going on.
oh yes, I think they've been using and abusing them children
I do
um,
too.
in a very evil way for a
And
long
all of
time.
these people
The
that have
boys.
passed away,
Who passed away?
all the people that have passed away that was
Oh
surrounding this
yeah.
house.
What do you
It's
think
just,
about
it's
that?
odd.
I'm going to
I don't
tell you.
know.
Um, I know that Leslie went to Allison and told Allison that if she didn't go to law enforcement over Hunter, she was going to. And right after she had this argument in front of Allison's house, he came up on a live, and she was Hunter's Child Protective Services had put her good. Oh, you could shut your camera. That's good.
Yeah, but I'm still here.
Um, they had. Hold on a minute.
What did that say? I couldn't see it.
I don't even know. It's just something F something. Um,
I'm sure she knows who I am.
I'm wondering if that was from back chat.
I don't know. I'm sure Candace is on here listening. And
Uh,
I tried to give.
F them people. I'm over all of them. You can't hurt me no more. That's what that said.
Well, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm just speaking what I know.
Um,
For Summer, it's about Summer. It's
you
about
know,
finding her.
the that's a video I had. That's a video I had. How I guess I could show it with us on panel as well.
Yeah.
That's something she had said in someone else's chat
Oh,
that
okay.
I was showing before. But
Is
anyway,
she? Have you talked to either one of them lately? I haven't. It's
I
been
I
probably 2 years
well,
since I've spoke to them.
Don Wells is up on the hill. He's up on the hill alone. I guess they had another outsy. He's up on the hill alone. And Candus, got in Dee Dee's vehicle and took off. I'm sure she's with Freddie Boy now. And I think it's because,
With
did you hear what she said? Here's what she said about
no,
Donald.
I hadn't been on YouTube in a couple of days because I've had my
Oh,
grandkids. So
oh, I tell you, you got to hear this one. Listen to what she said about him.
okay.
No, it's this one. It's this one.
He's fixing to happen to him real bad, and he just don't know it yet. Yep.
Whoa, did you hear that?
What'd she say?
she said something's a fixing to happen to him, and he don't know it yet. Watch this.
Was she talking about Dawn?
Fixing to happen to him real bad, and he just don't know it yet. Yep. When the time's right, you'll know. Something's fixing to
Whoa.
happen to him real bad, and he just don't know it yet.
Is
Yep.
she talking
When
about
the time's
Dawn?
right, you'll know.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wonder what that
Yeah.
means.
Whoa. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, when people on live other humans, they start to get bold as hell. They start to feel they're on a power trip, and they start to feel bold, and they start to say shit like that. Like, like they're
Right.
above everybody. And
I don't
she's
know.
getting and her and Hunter both are adopting that mentality.
Well, the first thing that, are you still there?
Oh, I am.
I can't see you. Hang on a second. Oh, okay, there you are. Um, when it first happened, and I heard that she wasn't supposed to contact Hunter, and he wasn't supposed to contact her, and then the next day or whatever, she went to his house wanting to know what he told the cops and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is just a red flag.
Oh, and not only telling, wanting to know what he told law enforcement, but she also told him that better be it. He told Chris, he said, I told, she wanted to know what I told law enforcement. And then he said, I told her. And she said, that better be it. So there, that tells us there was a lot more to tell that, he didn't say, and she was holding over his head that he best not be telling, right? Because I'm going to tell you what she told him. Your ass went out in that water. You're the one that did the dirty deed, and your ass is the one's going to get the most time. If we go down, you're going to be the one get life, not anybody else. Just you. You're going to get
Right.
life because you did it. You're the one that done it. And that's what she's got over Hunter. And not only that, but I also heard that she's been at the new place he's living, and she's been driving past it,
Whose place?
Hunter, where Hunter lives now,
Oh,
where he
oh my
stays now.
gosh.
I heard she's not only, been there, but she also, every so often she drives by and looks at him, letting him know, keep your
That's
mouth,
scary.
intimidating him,
Now she did.
intimidating him.
She did tell me on that video that I recorded, um, that Dawn was abusive to her
Yeah.
and that he smacked her and hit her in front of the kids. And
No,
I
no,
told her, I said, you don't have to put up with that. And she's like,
that's not
yeah, yeah, I
that's not
do.
true. That's not true. Don did not start smacking Candace around until
And
the kids
somebody in the chat has said, what kind of
until
person? Somebody in the chat said, what kind of person hangs out with Candace? First of all, I didn't hang out with her. I was trying to find out some information, to be totally honest with you.
and like everybody. Like
I mean, I'll
everybody.
just be honest about it.
Yeah, he better be sleeping with one eye open, right?
Right.
No, but everybody wanted answers for Summer.
Right.
Everyone wanted answers for this little girl. There
And
was
I knew, and I knew I probably wouldn't get any information, but I did get a little bit of information, and
She
you
did.
know
And
that matters.
the best, the best, the best, you know, if you wouldn't have talked to Candace, we wouldn't have the statement now. Because
No,
I was wondering what the boys had told Child Protective Services. That's been on my mind.
well,
That's been keeping me awake at night. Because Candace and Don both had SA charges on them, that they were afraid of going to prison for, and that's why they signed the kids over for, to avoid prosecution. The
that
kids,
don't surprise me. I mean, I don't know if they did that to their
oh yes,
children. In
Jinkies.
my opinion,
Candace,
yes, they
Candace
did, but
confided. Candace confided into Jinkies, and Jinkies, told Candace this dirty, dark secret. But yes, and in order for them to do this, in order for them to have them charges, because see, Summer's missing, she's gone. They can't get nothing like that off of what happened to Summer because she's missing.
right.
But in order for them to have those charges, then that means one or all the boys came forth and
I
told
I
about
think they
about
did.
Epstein.
I know I
And
talked to Dawn one time, um, when all this was happening, when I was talking to Candace, and he was
mhm,
telling me that the boys, that they had been cut off of any contact with the boys, and that that they felt like the boys were doing good, and they were with that one foster parent that that took them in. They were
right.
when they were all together.
Yes.
And he was telling me that a couple of them were having some issues, like anger issues, and
Just
just
one.
issues.
Just one.
Yeah, and that he didn't think they would get them back.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't ask why, or I just wanted to see what he would tell me.
Well, um, when she told you about Wayne Morlock and Wayne Morlock liking boys, that answered a lot of questions. That
I
that
don't
right
know
there.
that man.
Well, how would she know? How would she know he likes boys
I don't know.
if she wasn't letting him up there around boys?
I asked her. I'm gonna have to get Don B to release that video, because
I mean,
there's a lot of information. He only played part of it the
I
other
wouldn't
day.
know who likes little boys or little girls unless
Right,
I was affiliated with it, or had some had some foot or hand in it somewhere with the knowing, right? I have to be around
right.
to know.
Well, I just went blank with what I was gonna say. I hate when I do that.
And my
Um,
mom always said, honey, if you can't remember, it was probably best not told.
Probably.
Right.
Probably so. But I don't, they never told me nothing, which I never ask. I would ask Candace, well, what do you think happened? And she'd just say, I don't know. And then she wouldn't talk about it. She just wouldn't say nothing else about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's just strange to me. But when when you're talking to somebody, or trying to help them figure something out, because I thought, well, at first I thought, well, maybe they don't know what happened. But then the longer that it went on, I was like, no, they definitely know what happened. And they just, I don't know. I just, if you just look at the whole thing, and you see that they've had all their kids taken away, several of them, and several different, marriages or whatever, and all of that. I mean, why would they have their kids taken away?
I heard
And I used to tell Robin that too. I'd say, Robin, because Robin's so nice.
it was because of child abuse, what they call gross neglect, and also essaying.
Yeah, I mean, I knew
And
why they would take their kids away, but I
SA
thought to
was why they
myself,
didn't get them back.
yeah,
I
that was,
knew,
well, my thing was, I thought, well, if they take their kids away, there's something wrong.
I knew
Something's
Don,
going on.
I knew Don and Candace wasn't getting those kids back the very second that um, they didn't take the program that Dr. Phil offered. I mean, this is Penthouse. This is Penthouse program. Live it up, eat good, live good, do good. This is like rich people, the riches of the rich. Hollywood treatments. And I knew the second that they refused to go through that program to get clean, that they knew there wasn't ever getting the boys back because of something way more sinister than just abuse and some gross neglect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and her walking off stage and all that.
Oh yeah.
It's just all very strange.
And I'm going to tell you, she sure knew how to turn on the faucets when she wanted to get that ass out of something, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It breaks my heart. I feel like I know Summer, and I don't. I've never seen her in person. I don't know her at all, but it feels like I do from following this case.
You know something? The first picture, the first picture I ever saw of Summer was her standing out in the yard. She was so little, and she's standing out in the yard, and there's a sunbeam coming down from the sky. She's standing in this big sunbeam out there, and she just, you could just tell that this child, had so much light and love and kindness and caring. You could just tell that there's no building could contain the light in that child, the love and kindness in her. I mean, she was just like a bright light. And, you know, I think at that moment, I really fell in love with this child and wanted to find her, get her case solved, help her in any way possible, because she was just so freaking cute. She was so cute and so little, and that light shining on her the way it did. And I thought to myself, this is a little child of God. This definitely is a little child of God, the way he shined his light upon her. And
Oh,
and she just seemed to shine too.
right.
And I thought to myself, who could hurt a baby like this? Who could destroy a little child like this? This
I know
child needs to be found. This child needs to be brought home, and the evil people that did this need to pay for their sins.
it
They
was
law
just
enforcement needs to, lock them away forever. She didn't deserve that.
no,
This
she
little
didn't.
baby. And the more,
They're not good people.
right?
They're
They're
not.
evil. They're evil.
And the thing is very reliable source told me that Candace has really bad anger issues.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, Lord have mercy. Do I know that? I'll tell you now. She called me up one night and she was like, Sissy, Sissy. I'm like, what? Candace, calm down. What's going on? And she's like, I can't get him off the phone with that. And called, share everything in a book and then some. And I'm like, whoa, honey, I know that like a lot of people, they're like, PG really says some bad words. Yeah, I know I got a little bit of a problem with, um, not speaking the nicest, and the nicest all the time. But, some of these people out here that come at you sideways and get ugly with you, how else are you supposed to act? You got to go down on their level to back them up and get them off of you.
Right.
But, but she wasn't trying to back anybody up and get them off of her. She was right down, um, lost it. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Hmm.
like, whoa, violent, very violent. And
Yeah, the person that told me that about
she told me,
Candace,
she said, I want him off that phone and I want him off now. And I said, take the phone out there, Candace, and put it on speaker. And she's like, I told her, I'll back you up. I'll back you up. Let's get him off of there. Cause she really needed to be calmed down. I mean, she was getting brutal. And, and she took it out there and I told Donald, you need to get off the phone. You need to stop this live right now. Candace is losing it. I don't know if she's in severe pain and needing to go to hospital, or if she's just, can't handle, what you're doing all the time with this Cher lady. I don't know what the problem is. I didn't really know Cher at that time, as good as I
yeah,
do today. But I told him he needs to get off that phone, like off that live ASAF and P off of there, because Candace is losing it, and I wouldn't want to hear all the screaming, you know, half the night while he's with Cher, because she ain't gonna hang up with you. And if you hung up, she'd call you back like we got disconnected. Hey, needs to get, you know what I'm saying? Um, so I'm telling him to get off the phone, buddy. And he did. He's like, okay, okay. He shut it down. And, and I told him, after he shut it down, I told him, I said, I'm going to get off of here. You need to, take Candus to a hospital if she needs to go, or do, figure out what's going on here and fix it. That's your wife, not mine. It's your wife. You need to fix it, and I hung up, and, the next day they seemed to be okay. So he must have fixed it. But this is the shit that, I was going through, trying to, learn everything I could about Summer's case.
Right.
Actually, when I got with these people, I wanted Summer found. I wanted these people to be innocent. I wanted Don and Candus to be innocent. I really wanted them to be innocent, only to find
me
out.
too. I didn't want to think they did
I
something,
didn't. I really didn't. And and only to find out that they were guilty as fucking hell, that they was evil as hell, that they was dirty as hell, and that they were just a couple of demons, and these children had to endure it. And I'm going to tell you, and then I came out here like you. I came out, here to try to let people know who and what these people are, and to not be supporting them. Don't be supporting, mother freaking guilty suspects like this.
You don't want to support somebody that is not living
a godly life.
Exactly. I mean, you can try to help people, but when you see that it's not helping and they're not doing any differently,
I'm going to tell you,
then you just got to step back.
I was ready to furnish their whole entire house. I was ready to put brand new living room suites in there, brand new beds, brand new tables and chairs, brand new.
At their house?
In their house. I was ready to furnish that whole house. As soon as the drywall and the floors and stuff went in, I was going to furnish that whole place for these people. And I'm going to tell you, because I wanted them to be innocent. I wanted, I thought they were going to get the kids back. I thought that, I was pure-minded. I was pure-minded in all of it, And
you just wanted to think that they wouldn't do that,
No, I didn't, My gut told me they were guilty as fucking hell, but my head didn't want to listen. You ever have, you know what I'm saying? You ever meet somebody and your gut tells you to stay away from them, but your head saying, you need to have a heart. You need to be kind and caring. You need to give people a chance,
they're just different.
You shouldn't judge. You shouldn't judge. And you find out that you should have listened to your gut, because that was God telling you to stay the hell away from this evilness, and you didn't listen. Well, that's what happened to me. Yeah. And I came out to try to, warn people how they are, how manipulating they are, how much they were laughing behind the scenes and talking crap, and who they truly were. And I went to this one creator's channel that just made a shit show out of it, and let people attack me and say bad things about me and treat me violently. And I came over here. I had a friend, and he says, start your own channel. And I'm like, how am I going to do? I don't know nothing about this stuff, YouTube and stuff. And he's like, look, I'll help you. And he did. He done everything, and he sat with me till I learned to do all of this. Night after night after night. He was so good to me, and he still is. He comes and, sits with me sometimes, has coffee and hangs out and laughs. He laughs about how, I was freaked out, and And, at the beginning of all of this, I was so freaked out and, I can't do it and I don't know how to do it. And he's like, now you're doing it and you're good at it too. So he pats me on the back once in a while. And, he said, you're doing a lot of good. You're doing a lot of good. He says, if I'm not here with you, I'm watching you. And,
Absolutely.
and he said, you're good souled. You're good souled. But, God put this channel together. He put it together for Summer because I know I wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. This ain't something I do, but, it's something I had to do to be able to get out what I needed to get out for Summer.
Right. Right.
The information, to, um, to warn people how, I had to do it to pull Summer into the light because they had her in the dark and Don and Candus was the narrators narrating every damn thing. They put themselves in the light, narrating everything, and Summer was going farther and farther and farther into the dark. And they had these narrators just going around in circles with the same shit all the time. And
well, the person that told me that Candace had really bad anger issues told me that she actually saw it out of her one day when she was there at Candace and Dawn's.
And she saw Candus attack Dawn or one of the children.
No, she just said she saw Candace lose her cool one day. Just
Oh,
got real mad about something, and she
mhm.
said she goes off bad.
Oh, I'm going to tell you, there were some people up there doing a search, an echo search. And one of the ladies there, she talked to me sometimes, and she told me that she actually witnessed Candus hit Don so hard it busted his eardrum.
I heard about that. I remember that.
And Donald was trying to, lie and say no, no, and she said no. She saw it. She's seen, and I said what? And she's like, yeah. She said, and I'll tell you what. She said, I know she did it because took advantage and did it because she knew Don couldn't do nothing with everyone standing around. He would have to just walk away, and instead of retaliating. And she said, yeah, it was a cheap shot.
Yeah, that's manipulation.
Yeah, he sure
And
did.
that little girl, I don't know if Dawn and Candace had anything to do with it or not, but in my opinion, they did. That's
And
just my opinion. That's just
it's,
my opinion. I'm
I
not,
agree.
yeah, I'm not bad talking anybody.
My
Um,
opinion is, in
mm,
my opinion, Don, Candace, and Grandis are guilty as fucking hell, and they should be put into prison. That's my opinion. I believe that Andy Bernard and Jody Sue is guilty as hell of some
I
sin
don't know. I
as
don't know
well.
what they're guilty of, but they're
Well, I
guilty of
tell you what
something.
I heard. I heard Candace and Jody Sue going at it because Candace wanted Jody Sue to change the timeline
I
because
remember that.
Me and Don got in an argument, and I told him how stupid he sounded with the 443, 447 timeline when she don't even come up missing until 6 o'clock. I said 443, 447. She'd have been in the custody of Grandma and Candace, your old lady. I said, so do you realize how stupid you look when you're using that timeline? Like it means something? It don't mean shit. Other than they had to be the ones that did it. If that was Summer screaming, they'd have had to done it because she's supposed to be outside with them, right, Don? I said, so, and he wanted to get ugly with me. And I told him, he needed to shut up and listen or I was going to hang up. And he shut up.
Yeah.
And I explained it to him. And the next thing I know, he has to get off the phone. And I knew he was calling Candace. I mean, I knew it, and I was right because on the way home, he calls me back and he's talking to me. And he says, Ain't it funny how I didn't lose you today? And I was like, mm-hmm, because your ass done past the threshold where the phone drops, because it's dropped every other time I'm talking to you before, and it would have dropped today if you wasn't already on the other side. And anyway, he gets home and he goes in the house, and and he's got the phone opened because he always was leaving the phone open. He stick it in his pocket, and I would be on it, and he goes in the house, and um I hear two women arguing, and then all of a sudden I realize one of them is Jody Sue's voice, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And so I'm listening, and I hear her and Candus arguing, and Candus is wanting that timeline changed, and Jody Sue ain't going to change it because they didn't believe it in the first place, and she wants to know where her money is, her share of her money. And I told Candace, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm hollering, and Candace turns around and he looks at Don, and Don, I guess maybe he didn't realize I was still on the phone, or what, but Candace is like, who you talking to? And Don's like, Sissy. And they're arguing, and I tell Candace, I said, Candace, that's Jody Sue. I know her when I hear her. That's Jody Sue you're talking to. And she's like, yeah. And I said, why she want money? Why she want money? She said she wanting her share of the gift cards and the cash apps, and the money coming in and stuff. And I said, is she giving you part of her money that she's got coming in? And Candace said, no. I said, then tell her to, kiss your backside, and she ain't getting no monies either. She wants half of yours. She needs to give you half of hers. What the hell is she wanting your money for anyway? And right at that time, Jody Sue gets off the phone. And Candace don't want to talk about it no more. And, they got caught. They got busted. That's what they did. They got busted. And I knew right then and there that Jody Sue had a hand in it somehow, because why in the hell would Candace be able to call her and tell her to change something if they hadn't made it up together, right?
Right.
You can't call somebody. I mean, if you said you heard a scream at a certain time, coming from my heel, how can I call you up and ask you to change it?
Right.
I can't
I don't
call you up
trust
and say
I don't
change it.
trust any of those people up there in that holler. And I want to make something clear to everybody, because I hear people talking about it a lot, about how we're all hillbillies here in Tennessee. There are places that there are hillbillies and
I'm gonna tell you
rednecks,
something. Us
but
damn
they're
hillbillies.
not everywhere.
Us
And I'm
damn
not one of
hillbillies
them.
are pretty smart.
And
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
tell
one
you
of them.
I tell you something about hillbillies. They might sound stupid, but they smart as hell. Hillbillies are smart as hell. You ain't. I'm gonna tell you what. You better get up early and go to bed late. You want to outsmart a hillbilly? Them
Yeah,
mothers,
well,
they know it.
everybody doesn't live like they live.
Oh hell
Let's
no,
just put it that way.
hell no.
There's hillbillies all over this world.
I'm gonna tell you. I'll give you a description of most hillbillies' houses. I'll give you a description of most hillbillies' houses, and I'm talking about the very damn poor. The very damn poor.
Um,
The one that's got 10 kids. The one that's got 10 kids and a shack. And I'm going to tell you something about that shack. That shack is clean. That shack is cleaner than a mansion. Those I'll tell you one thing about those hillbillies. They clean that shack, and they wash them clothes. Those kids get bathed, and they get clean clothes, and they get plenty of good food. And I'll tell you what, their sheets are clean. Everything's clean. I'm going to tell you something about hillbillies. Their babies' diapers are as white as mother freaking snow, honey.
we're good people here in
The sheets are
Tennessee.
white as snow. Everything's white as snow. They might not have a lot of money, but they got a lot of pride.
Right. There's no call for the nastiness.
No, not
And
at all.
I went up there that one time, or that second time, me and my brother took some food and some more food up there to them. Listen to this. I called to Candace and I said, hey, I said, how are y'all doing? This is right, right when it first happened. And she was saying they were hungry, that they didn't have no food, and her and Dawn was hungry. And I said, well, what would you like to have? And I'll bring it to you. And it didn't take her no time. She said, Burger King. And she told me what they wanted. And I took it up there to them. And she didn't even thank me.
What?
And I called Robin and I said, I just took them Burger King. I said, I bought them 2 Whopper meals with cheese and a drink and took it all the way to their house. And they didn't even thank me. I said, that's the last time I'll do anything.
Right?
I said, I'm done.
Wow.
But yeah, we're all not hillbillies here. So,
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a hillbilly. I'm a hillbilly, and I'm proud of it.
yeah.
And I'll tell you what. I tell you right now, them hillbillies are smart. Those hillbillies, most of them are clean. 99.9% keep that house spotless. I tell
Well,
you, something,
that area over there where they live is a rough
hillbillies sure
area.
know how to cook, honey.
Oh yeah,
We
we
know
do.
we know how to put a meal on the table.
Soup, beans, and cornbread, fried
Breakfast, lunch, and
potatoes.
dinner.
Oh yeah,
Amen.
heck yeah,
Amen. I tell you what, we know how to take nothing and make something with it.
that's right. But
Amen.
I don't know. I just pray that they find some answers. I do know that the search they did on the 13th was on our local news tonight, or actually today, this morning. So if you look at CYB, or I'm sorry, WJHL news, it was on there. I don't know if you saw it or not,
Uh-uh.
but they were
What did
talking about the search.
that happened up on
Uh huh.
Van Hill
They were
Road?
they were talking about it, yeah, on the news on WJHL.
What was that 5 truckloads of dirt that came out of there?
I don't know, but I drove by there twice. Me and my brother have drove out there by there twice, but it was like exactly the week after they searched. So I didn't know the search happened on the 13th. And then when I heard about it, it was like the next week.
Nobody
And
did. They
and
swooped in
yeah,
there with no one. They swooped in there with nobody knowing.
yeah. And me and my brother, I said, "Do you want to ride out by there?" I said, "I'm just nosy." And he was like, "Yeah, I do." So we rode out by there and we didn't see any law enforcement or anything when we went. However, and no, I didn't take pictures. I've had people ask me that and said that, well, if I didn't have pictures to prove it, they did, I was lying. No, I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie about driving out
No,
there.
you don't. You know, that's what I hate.
It's 30 minutes from my house.
That is what, that is what I hate the most out here is they want receipts, they want receipts, they want receipts. But I'm going to tell you something. Ziggy don't show no damn receipts. Half of these creators don't show no receipts at all. They say
I
all kinds
know.
of stuff and they
Well,
show
I couldn't drive
no.
down the road and look and take pictures at the same time. And somebody in chat just said, Jenny, a question. You said Candace would not know you if she seen you. How would she not know you did all this for her? Just a question. I said that she would know me if she saw me.
Yeah, she said if she saw her, she'd probably know her, but
I'm sure well, of course she would. I mean, I've dealt with her a few times. Uh, trying to be a good person and also find out some information. But I didn't get any information, just the stuff I've told, and I have
oh,
no reason to lie about
a
it.
lot of people have tried. I'm going to tell you something. Some of the best try to get the information out of Don and Candace Wells, and I'm going to tell you, I think I got the most of all. I think I really got the insight of how evil and dirty and low life and crooked these people are. Don Wells wasn't only threatening me up, trying to scare me off, but he's trying to threaten my children. Trying to threaten my
Yeah.
children. He literally
Nobody's
called
asking
my
for money.
phone.
At no
And,
money 001, nobody's
and
asking for money. Somebody in the chat saying that we're just trying to get money on here tonight. No, that's not got anything to do with this.
And this lady that came up on the panel, she didn't ask me for nothing.
I
She
showed my face.
she showed her face. She didn't ask for anything at all. She just wanted to come up and talk about
I've
her
wa-
experience. You know,
I've wanted to come up
not
a lot before. I've never come. This is the first
let's
time I've ever came up on
right.
panel. So
Let's not attack this lady because it takes me back to when I was at Ziggy's and everybody was attacking me. And I'm going to tell you, it hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings. Everybody thought PG is made of stone, like I was, you know, some kind of ghost or somebody from outer space, or maybe an angel, you know, from
I
heaven
remember.
that had no feelings. But I'm
I
going to,
remember all that.
I had feelings, and they were very much hurt. And these people they made me, you know, become a person I didn't want to be by attacking me the way they did, and coming at me the way they did. And I thank God I was strong enough to overcome it all and be able to be here today with you guys doing what we do. And please don't make this lady feel the way that Ziggy made me feel. Please do not do that. She
Seminole
just,
Winds is
she just,
saying,
she just wants to share. She just wants to share this stuff. You know, it's something that she experienced, something she went through, and something that, you know, that she needs to, you know, put out here to help Summer. She wants to help, and that's why she's up here right now. She's a
"Hey,
good woman,
I didn't go to church with them. My
and she doesn't.
daughter used to go with to church there, and I would go and watch my grandkids in plays there when they would be in a play. I would go, and that's how I got to meet Dawn and Candace.
Yes, absolutely. And
And
go
and
ahead.
that's all it is. I mean,
That's
I
right.
don't I don't
And
have anything to hide, you know. But
this woman
I
don't need no money, you guys. She don't need no
right.
money. She was taking food. She was taking food and canned goods. She was spending her money to help Dawn and Candace. She was spending money to help Donnie. This woman is a giver, not a
I'm a
taker.
voice for Summer.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think I don't have all the answers by any means, but I feel like that any kind of information that we can get in this case that is factual is important.
Absolutely. And you know, and I want to let you know, I so appreciate you coming up. I so appreciate you sharing all that you know
You're
on Summer's
welcome.
behalf and the boys. And I thank you very much for what you do. God bless you, honey.
Mhm.
God bless you.
Thank you. I just have wanted to do this for 4.5 years and
I
never
wish
had the
you would
nerve
come
to
up
do
sooner.
it because I was leery, because I'm local and
And, and you're
I
and you're afraid that you be treated just
right.
like some people's
Exa-
treating you right now.
exactly. But you know what
And
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
tonight? So tonight, when I talked to that TBI agent this morning at the parade, I thought I'm gonna get online. I'm gonna go online up there and talk in the chat or on the screen or whatever because I've kept all this silent for 4.5 years,
I know.
and I want to get it off my chest and
I
tell what I
know.
know
And
to try
honey,
to help her.
I appreciated it. I appreciated it
Yeah.
very
And
much.
one more thing, and I'll get down from here. Um, that one time that me and my brother took the Burger King food, she
Mm-hmm.
filled the back of my car up with those kids' toys and told me to take them and give them to my grandkids. And I didn't have the heart to tell her no. And I said, it was mostly, what are those big Tonka trucks that are made out of, they're metal and they're heavy duty.
Yeah,
You
I
know what I'm
know.
talking about? Like
Mm-hmm.
dump trucks and stuff.
Absolutely.
They were those, and they were old, they were rusted and everything. And I said, I said, are you sure? I said, because my grandkids, they've got all kinds of, toys and stuff.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
and I said, are you sure? I said, what if the kids come back? And she said, they're not going to come back. I
See?
said, well, Candace, your boys might come back because, see, I have a boy grandson.
Right.
And I took them home and I left them in the back of my, or no, I took them out of my car. I'll just be honest with you because I was worried there was bed bugs in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just being honest.
You
And I
throw 'em
put them
away.
outside and I sat there and thought about it. And I thought, well, I could clean them up and give them to my grandson. He was 3 at the time. And then I thought, I don't want those. Those could have some kind of evidence on them.
Absolutely.
And you know what I did with them? And I don't mean this disrespectful to Candace for giving them to me because that was nice of her to do that. But I threw them in the trash.
Amen.
I did. I thought I'm not bringing that stuff into my house.
Through their toys. You know,
She gave them to me.
I don't think they had any evidence or nothing on them, but what I do think is she wanted to get them, she wanted to get them out of there as soon as possible because she was looking so forward to just being her and Donnie. I don't think she ever did want the kids back anyway. That's just
Uh,
my opinion.
she talked about the boys more than she did Summer.
Candace did not realize that Don is too damn old. He's too damn old to be running homeless and living and doing the way they did, so stupidly back in the day when she first got with him. Um, she still got that stupid mind frame, that dumb mind frame, run all over the place and do, all kinds of evil stuff to a lot of evil, to a lot of different people, with a lot of evil other people.
Right.
And when they threw Wayne Morlock under the bus, the guy she told you came up at Christmas, when they threw him under the bus, that's why they ran over to Arkansas. They ran over into Arkansas because they were scared of Wayne. Don knew he done fucked up when he threw Wayne Morlock under the bus. And they were over there hiding. They was trying to hide because Don's afraid Wayne was looking for his ass. And
Right.
and that's what they was doing over there. And do you know while they was there, they befriended a mother with 3 little children who actually disappeared from that hotel. Been there a long time before Don and Candace came.
That's
They expect her
awful.
to be there a long time after there was gone, but nobody knew where she went or what happened to her.
Hey, BB Diamond 145. I said they may have had evidence on them. I threw them away because I didn't want them. I didn't want them in my possession.
Hmm.
I did throw them away. I mean, it was like 3 dump trucks.
And if she threw stuff like that in the back of my car, um, you're better than me because you took them home.
Well,
I
I didn't.
probably,
I just
I
couldn't do.
probably
I
would
couldn't
have,
tell her no. And
I would have probably stopped. I just stopped somewhere, trashed those things, and had to clean my whole car out. I'd
I
had to clean
did.
my whole car with mother freaking 15 different types of antiseptics, and then still thought about doing it some more. That's just me. That's just me.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I didn't.
oh hell no.
I just didn't. I didn't want to say no, and then. I was a little nervous, to be honest with everybody, when I was up there standing outside their house. And they invited us in. They said, you all want to come in? Come on in. And I said, no, we'll just stand outside.
Right? Wasn't you afraid of those dogs?
Those dogs wasn't there when I was up there. It's just been about 3 years ago,
Um.
or 2.5 years ago, something like that.
Oh, that might be after all the dogs got took.
Yeah, the
With
dogs
that,
weren't up there. They had a dog, and I think she said its name was Diamond, and it was chained up outside
yeah.
with all kinds of trash around it, and
Oh
junk,
Lord.
and metal,
Hmm.
and stuff just laying around.
You know, yeah, I think that's after they actually, when Don went to jail, Candace took off and they left those dogs up there. No food, no nothing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
they had to come in and collect every last one of those dogs
I,
and
I remember
take
that.
away.
That's
I heard a couple of them didn't even make it. couple of them didn't even make it.
I heard that
And
too.
it was just the most horrific sight that I heard anyone could see. And I heard all the dogs were really malnutrition and
Yeah.
needed a lot of medical care and to get them back, back to where they should be. And
Well,
um,
I I I just hope that Summer gets her justice and those boys get their justice, and that whoever had anything to do with this pays for it to the fullest. And I will tell anything that I know to help this little girl, because I've had
amen.
this on my mind for 4 years, 4.5 years. And I had to tell my side.
Right. And um, you just don't.
Candace started calling me. That's why I really backed off. She started calling me randomly or texting me and
What?
saying, "Can you come and give me a ride to the hospital?" And I said, it was early one Saturday morning, and I was like, "I can't, Candace." I said, "Right now?" I said, "Where's Don? He ain't here. He left me and I'm sick." And I just told her, I said, "I have my grandkids." I said, "I can't come and get you." And that's when I just shut it down. I just blocked her and was done with it.
Right.
Because I didn't need all that.
Yeah. She tries to,
I'm not a
tries
taxi
to,
service.
she tries to come and get close to people. She wants to come and get around. You know, she knows you got those kids and stuff, and that's really what her and Don's after.
And I
They're
certainly
after
wasn't going to have them around them.
they're after your children, your grandchildren,
Right.
and they're just
Yeah.
weird. They're
I
just
don't
really,
know.
really fun. They look past you at your kids,
Yeah,
and
that's scary.
yeah, yeah. And matter of fact, um, not too long ago, they were walking behind these little girls. There was a bunch of little girls going down this road, and Candace and Don's sitting there videoing these little girls. Both of them have their phone out. You could tell by the shadow on the ground. They got their phone out. Candace is really just videoing these little girls, and all of a sudden, some older boys, like late teens, early adulthood, come out, out um, onto the road where they're walking, following these little girls, videoing them. And they got like, she is zoomed as far in on these little girls as she can get. You could tell her phone is zoomed in because you can, see these little girls really good. And these guys come out in front of them, and Don immediately turns off. And that's a sign of guilt right there. He immediately turns off. Candace is still, like ain't got the fucking memo. And he has to say something to her to get her, oh shit, turn off and follow him. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this is super dangerous. These guys are following little girls, video recording somebody's little girls. And what the hell, are they doing this for?
I don't
What
know. That's
what is in
weird.
their minds that they would be doing this for? What I'm saying is I felt that those little girls were so unsafe at that particular minute. They were so unsafe. Um,
That takes a
and
lot of nerve.
Don and Candace had to have an agenda to be doing what they were doing. That's
Right.
my opinion,
Yeah,
and
who
I
does
said it
that? Who
online.
takes pictures of other people's children?
Honey, they wasn't picturing, they were videoing and walking behind them, really down this road, really keeping the camera on them.
Yeah, that's scary.
That is that's the super freaking scary.
It is very scary.
And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say for sick people like that. I
I
have
don't
no
either.
idea.
They'll have their
And then to
time.
turn off, as soon as them guys came out through there, they turn off. Um, they get deterred. That showed that whatever the fuck they was up to was evil. Was evil.
Right.
Because if they wasn't up to no evilness, those guys wouldn't have, those guys wouldn't have made a difference. They'd have just kept going down the road, right? You just keep walking on down the road if you wasn't up to nothing
Right. That
sinister.
don't make sense.
And as soon as Dawn turned off, I said, "Oh shit, this ain't good."
No, that's creepy. And why would they even post something like that?
They're sick. They're sick and they're evil. They're twisted minded. I don't think that's what I keep telling people. They don't know. They don't know the level of this evilness that these people are. They haven't ever dealt with it. They that's a level of evilness that we don't want to believe exists. We don't want
No.
our mind don't want to comprehend
You have
that
to
we
stay
have
away
this
from that kind of
ability.
stuff. You can't stay, you can't, you know,
No.
be around people like that and expect
Mm-mm.
anything good to come out of it.
I'm going to tell you something. Um, it didn't take me long. It didn't take me long at all to understand that I didn't want nothing to do with them son of a bitches. It didn't take me long to understand how sick and twisted and weird
Yeah.
and evil they were. It didn't take me long to understand that people shouldn't be supporting that kind of evil. It didn't take me long to understand that somebody's got to be brave enough to call these son of a bitches out
Right.
because nobody else seemed to want to.
Well,
And
I'm doing it for summer and that's all I know. If I can think, I'll think and try to think if there's anything else.
hey, I'm
Um,
going to tell you, don't be a
but
stranger. You are so welcome. It was a
well,
real pleasure having you up here tonight, sweetheart.
thank you, PG.
And
I really enjoyed it, and I hope
I
everybody
hope
in
you
chat
come
has a
back.
good
I
night.
hope you come back. You don't have to have something to tell. Just come up here and hang with me.
Well, I may do that. I may do that.
Absolutely. I
I may
appreciate it.
do that. But you all take care and God bless.
Hey, you take care too, and God bless you and
All
yours.
right. I'm gonna go down in the chat. How do I do it?
Um, here, I'll boot you down there.
Okay. Thank
Um,
you.
all right,
All right,
and
bye.
you stay safe, honey. You hear
You
me?
too.
You stay safe. God
You
bless.
too. Bye bye.
Okay. She'll be reconnected into the chat now, and I really did appreciate her coming up tonight. And please, please, don't go sideways at people who come out here to help with Summer's case and want to tell what they know. Everything is important. Everything we can learn is important for Summer. You know, and she did this for Summer. She came up here tonight. And this ain't an easy thing to do. I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to do what she just done because I did it myself. And and I know how strong you have to be, how strong you have to be out here, to take all the heat and the hate and everything from people that just want to hate on somebody and be cruel and mean and so forth and so on. And we people don't always have receipts. People don't always have receipts, you guys, but they have no reason to lie. When it comes to evil people like Dawn and Candace Wells, nobody has any reason to lie. You can tell the truth, honey. You can tell the truth. And what I'm saying is, the truth is way better when on Dawn and Candace than any lie could ever be. I mean that you can't believe the truth on them yourself. You cannot believe the truth on Dawn and Candace yourself. You know, that's how evil they are. These people are so evil. It's hard to believe that evil exists in the world. Um, that's what I'm trying to say. And it takes a long time. It takes a long time to comprehend, you know, how evil, the level of evilness these two folks are. Um, even I sometimes still struggle with how people can be that sinister. even PG. I'll tell you what, I come from the hood. I come from I've seen some real shit in my life. Like, you guys wouldn't even believe. You wouldn't believe some of the things I could tell you. You would be like, oh, what? Yeah. I mean, I could tell you some stuff to curl your hair, baby. That I've seen. I've actually, I could tell you about a level of evilness. You'd be like, whoa. And I'm going to tell you, Don and Candus, them mother freakers, they beat all the shit. They beat it all. They beat it all. Um, I'm going to tell you now, I, I, I truly believe that they're a level of evilness that there's a special place in hell for. They're a level of evilness that, is beyond evil, but that evil exists in this world as much as we don't want to believe it because we want to keep our children safe. We want to feel safe. And it's hard to feel safe and feel like you can keep people safe when you have to understand that this fucking evil exists, you know? And it makes you a different person, right? It makes you a different person because now you got to get strong enough, to overpower this kind of evilness if it ever tries to, come your way or upon you. You got to be a way stronger human than you ever was before. And and know what you'll do and know what you'll do, and know and we just as good God-fearing, upstanding Christians, right? As good God-fearing, upstanding Christians, law-abiding, we don't want to think about that stuff. We don't want to think that we might have to, at some point, scoop to that level of evilness in our suit of armor and have to, overpower it because it's coming our way. We don't want to think like that. And I don't blame anybody. I don't blame nobody. But I'm going to tell you, you got to be ready. You got to always be ready in this world today, because that level of evilness doesn't have just Don and Candus's face. It has many faces, right? It has the face of Tony, the face of Johnny, the face of Ben, the face of so many people. It has so many different faces, Tammy's and Sherry's and it's got all kinds of different names. It's got all kinds of different faces. It comes in male and female. And it's all over the world. It's all over the world. You don't know who they are. And like Don and Candus, it can fool you in order to get you, right? Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Be ready. Always, always be on guard. It's not easy, but we're living in a world where we have to be. We have to keep our oil lamps burning. We got to keep our suit of armor on all the time. And we've got to be ready for whatever comes. We got to be ready. Because I'm going to tell you, if you ain't ready, that evil will overtake you. Look what happened to Dee Dee. Look what happened to Dee Dee for letting her guard down. That's what happens. Keep your guard up. It's important, you guys. It's important. But anyway, I had a lot more. I wanted to share tonight. Hopefully, God willing, hopefully PG can get in here tomorrow night. We can take it, take it from there, from where we left off tonight. We take it from there and move forward. You know, I wondered how these boys came into play with the essay stuff. I wondered, I was thinking to myself, damn, Don and Candus, sinister as fucking hell, both of them having essay charges on them. And the only ones that could have, be witness to this, that they could have held prosecution over their heads with, would have been the boys. The boys had to have told. I knew that. And and I was thinking, I was trying to think like a normal person, a normal person would want to think. I was wanting to think all the good. I was, that a human could think in such a tragedy. I was trying to think, Don, sick, twisted minded bastard, into the girls, and Candus, sick, twisted minded bitch, into the boys, right? But I'm going to tell you what, this lady came up here tonight. She confirmed what's often kept me awake at night about those little boys. Because I've asked myself, do you just want to think the best, PG? Do you just want to think the best that, that these sick, twisted bastards weren't evil enough to, to subject those boys to men? And I didn't want to think that. I didn't want to think it. It's too hard to think. It's too hard to think that someone would be that fucking evil. Right? It's hard to think that they'd be evil enough to even touch a child to begin with. But to fucking, put them through that kind of torture, that kind of pain, that kind of damn mental and physical misery. I didn't want to go there. But when she came up tonight, I had no choice. I had no choice. She confirmed what I was trying to stay away from. But somehow my gut felt what's going on. You don't get no more evil than that. You just don't. You don't. And I'm going to tell you something. That's an abomination in the sight of God. And I'm going to tell you something. The Bible plainly states you cannot be forgiven for abominations. You better be real damn careful what you do on this earth, because there is sins that you cannot be forgiven for. There is sins that you will not be forgiven for. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, no forgiveness. And what I'm thinking right now could have went on under that roof with those little boys. Also, no forgiveness. People think there is. You're wrong. Read your Bible. Read your Bible. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. It just is what it is. Don't hate on PG. I'm just a messenger. That's God's word. It has nothing to do with PG. It has all to do with God's word. I didn't say it. The Bible did. The Bible did. The only book that is 100% truth and the bestseller in the world. That's the book that said it. That is God's word, not mine. I am nobody's judge, but God is. And that's how God said you will be judged. right? I don't, I don't preach for money. I don't preach for money. I preach for souls, right? I preach for souls. I'm going to tell you how it is. I don't preach fire and brimstone because God is loving, kind, and God is caring. He's a very good God. But he also, you got to look for the wrath of God. God also has a wrath. And I'm going to tell you, when you're doing what he tells you not to be doing, you're going to feel his wrath, right? You're going to feel it. Even PGs had to feel it. I felt the wrath of God. I wasn't doing right. I felt the wrath of God. We all do. We all do. And I'm going to tell you something. On that hill up there, on that hill up on Ben Hill Road, the Bible definitely speaks hard against Ben Hill Road, right? It speaks very hard against that hill up there. That mother freaking place is like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's like freaking Noah. It's like the days of Noah before the flood came. That hill up there is exactly why there was a flood. Right? It's exactly why the world was flooded. It's why it rained 40 days and 40 nights. Because the evil on the earth was so great that and it was so wicked that God had to destroy it all. Except a few animals and a few people in that ark. Just saying. God be with us, man. God be with us. If you can't see the end of time is here, you can't see how everything's going to hell, I say, get to the eye doctor. Get to the eye doctor. Must need glasses. Must need, because a blind man could see how evil this place is getting. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Children, we're sitting up here with tons and tons of children. And we're only covering a few. Tons and tons of children every single day. Right? Every single day. Tons of children being neglected, abused, violently destroyed every single day by evil human beings. By evil humans. God bless them. As we go out of here tonight, I would like to ask for all of you to send prayers up. Send prayers up for all these missing kids. Summer, Sebastian, Michael Vaughn, Jack and Lily, little Emmanuel, and I'm sure there's many more. Send those prayers up for these babies. And that's what they are. They're babies. They're just babies. Send those prayers up. And send them up for all of these children being abused and neglected. All of these children that's folding their own little hands, praying like Summer once was, for someone just to help them. Let us pray. And if we see something, say something. Let us not stay silent. Let us be the voice for the little ones that have no voice. God be with us all. In the name of his son, Jesus Christ, amen. God be with us. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Much love. the other Sharon? You say, I've been through hell lately. Girlfriend, I'm going to tell you what. God's going to turn your life around. You come back and let me know how good it was, because I know he's going to turn your life around. You know, he can do that. He can do that. And I usually don't open a live after the song is played unless I'm led to do so. And I was led to open it back up and let you know, trust in God, sweetie, because your life is about to get a real turnaround for the good. You're going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed. So just look up, thank God, and make sure you let PG know that I was right. You're going to be blessed. God said you are. God said you are. When God speaks, I listen. When he tells me to come out here and say something, I do. It might have felt like hell, but it was just a growing spurt for all the good that's about to come for you. God bless you, sweetie. Good night.